Peace and welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. We got a lot to talk about. First, happy Thursday, folks. Folks, let's talk a little bit about the trial that has been set for Darryl George. We just talked about this yesterday, and then at the same time we were talking about it, a judge oversaw the case, and now they have set a trial date for this Texas teenager about his locked hair. I'm gonna bring you the latest around that. Also, let's talk about a lesson for Democrats, as there is a new poll that shows that GOP voters show that they don't choose candidates based upon electability, they choose based on shared values. Is this something that Democrats can learn from? We'll certainly talk a little bit about that. Also, I'm going to bring out our relationship specialist and inspirationalist, Trinette Collier, joining us as we're talking about, I'll wait till y'all figure it out. Man, y'all will not believe what people are doing right now. And I got something for you as it relates to how one brand is taking the fashion and beauty industry by storm. So we'll certainly talk all about that. Make sure you join us in the conversation here on The Culture on the Black Star Network. Let's go. All right, folks, peace and welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Happy Thursday, folks. Happy Thursday. It is almost that time of the end of the week. But there we go. Tell you, I've been looking forward to this all week. But today we're going to have a fantastic show because we got a lot to certainly cover. But first and foremost, let's talk about where we are streaming at right now. First, you can check us out on our homepage at blackstarnetwork.com. Download the app for free. Follow us on social media. And make sure you do your part to support us financially. We are looking to have you as an investor and a stakeholder for the work that we're doing, the content that we're putting out there. So make sure you go to our website today at blackstarnetwork.com. And we truly, truly, truly appreciate you for your support and your donations. Now, we're also streaming on Amazon platforms. You can certainly check us out on Amazon News on your Fire TV. We're also on Amazon Prime Video. And just find us on the Prime Video app under Live TV, the news, or find us on Amazon.com under Prime Video, then Live TV, the news. We're also on Freevee. Check us out there on now under news. You can check us out on Black Star Network. And we're on Plex TV 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just search for Black Star Network or find us under Live TV, the news, and opinion. Now, we're also streaming on Roland Martin's social media page. So you can go to Roland Martin's Facebook page and check us out, or you can go to Roland Martin's YouTube channel and tune in as well. If you are on the Facebook page, big shout out to the Culture Crew on the Facebook page. We truly appreciate y'all for tuning in. Big shout out to, that's right. Big shout out to the crew on the X platform. Thank you so much. And they get like half of a clap. Thank y'all so much on the X platform. And of course, the crew on Roland Martin's YouTube channel. There we go. Let me check in with the YouTube crew, see what's happening. I see my brother Brian Christensen. I see the Stephanie Humphrey channel. Peace, Stephanie Humphrey. Peace, Brother Brian. Pastor Damon Blissett, I see you. April Morgan, thank you so much for checking in. Pauline Hurt, thank you for checking in. Tiana, I see you. Deidre Hall, I see you. The ABX girl, hey, CC, hey, Culture Crew, hey, ABX, the ABX girl, thank you so much for being a part. J-Bell, good to connect with you once again. Who is this? I see another, what's this, a new person, Rajay? Because I hope I'm saying that, pronouncing that correctly. Rajay, thank you. Hey, good to see you. And we got so many more. Now, while y'all come into the chat, make sure y'all hit that like button. Let's kill the algorithms to show them that we are in full support of Black content here on Black Star Network on Roland Martin's YouTube channel. All right, folks. let's talk a little bit about the first thing. Yesterday, we talked about this case with little brother Darryl George, 17-year-old out of Texas, the teenager who is in he's at the center of the controversy about locked hair, about the Crown Act. Remember, yesterday I shared with you, that's little brother Darryl George. Remember, yesterday I shared with you that Greg Poole, the superintendent of schools at Barber Hills Independent School in Montview, Texas, had purchased a full-page ad to run in the Houston Chronicle about the district's decision to suspend brother Darryl George, causing him to be out of class for 80% of the school year. And now they are finally moving forward with this. There has officially been a trial date that has been set in this particular case. And this is a junior. And one of the things that brother Darryl George said was that he felt stressed about what says is an unfair punishment, but he's grateful for a court date. And I want to share just a little bit about this. He's 18 now. He's been in Barbers Hill High School and Mont Bellevue, since August 31st. That's when he was the last time he was in there. But he's been in his on and off suspension period. And so now his family will get their day in court. Yesterday, they had a press conference about this. And according to Darryl George's mom, Miss Darisha George, she said, I'm glad that we are being heard too. I'm glad that things are moving forward and we're getting through this. Some of you had expressed that you think that the mother should keep fighting. And so that looks like that's going to be the case. State District Judge Chap King III and Anna Howick, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Anna Howick, set a February 22nd trial date in this lawsuit that was filed by the school district regarding whether its dress code's restrictions limiting the length of boys' hair violates the Crown Act. So that's going to happen on February the 22nd. So we're talking about, a little bit less than a month from now, the Georgians will be able to get their day in court and share what their thoughts are about this whole ordeal. There is that new Texas law, which took effect in September, which prohibits race-based hair discrimination and bars employers and schools from penalizing people because of hair texture or protective hairstyles, including afro braids, locks, twists, or Bantu knots. Yep, this should be interesting to say the least, and I hope that all goes well for the George family. But this should be very, very interesting. And crew, if y'all want to share your thoughts around this, you certainly can as we talk about this. But this may be setting a precedent in the state of Texas around the Crown Act. We don't know. This, of course, has been a national story, so it's setting a precedent and having some revived conversations about race-based hair discrimination across this country. So this should be very, very interesting. So I just wanted to bring y'all up to speed on that particular situation, since we just talked about it yesterday. But this decision was also made yesterday by the state court, the state district judge Chap King III. And again, that trial is set for February 22nd. So hopefully justice will reign supreme in this particular case, and the George family will be able to get to some place of normalcy, and the Barber Hill School District, hopefully they will get penalized and feel some consequences for this situation. And I don't know if they're asking for any particular money, but I would. I would. Punitive damages, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Punitive damages. So we shall see. And of course, we will do our part to keep you up to date on that situation. But look, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's talk a little bit about something that I thought was very interesting, which is why people, we've been having these conversations on here about the whole Trump candidacy, why people are voting for him. I read this piece from NPR that talks about this. And it started to click for me. And then I got another thought after reading this piece. I said, is this something that the Democrats should start doing? I'm going to talk to you a little bit about electability versus shared values. Look, we're going to have that discussion up next. Stay with us. We still got a lot to cover in the first hour of the culture right here on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood-Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for a Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
All right, folks, welcome back to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Let's have a conversation about politics, shall we? Yes, folks, politics. Now, there have been two major GOP primary contests that has had some serious implications because both of those contests, former President Donald Trump has won them and won them in a big, big way, double-digit points, right? So I think a lot of us have been asking this question around Trump. Trump's, how is he able to get this far? Why are voters even voting for this man, considering all his legal troubles, all of his decisions? Like, what is going on in America? And so I came across this article from NPR, and it showed, they broke down some data around this idea that I think a lot of us have been grappling with. And it showed this. I want to share with you. Let's post the first quote, please, Lise. Thank you. It says that the interest poll showed that only 14% of Iowa GOP caucus goers said a candidate's ability to defeat Joe Biden was their top factor in choosing. Meanwhile, 41% chose someone who, quote, shared their values. Now, similarly, in New Hampshire exit polls, the same percentage of Republican primary voters, 14%, ranked the ability to defeat Joe Biden as their top priority. Choosing a candidate who fights for people like me garnered the top choice of 31% of those voters, while shared value was most important to another 30%. I want to take a moment to really just kind of think about this, folks, of where we are. Now, this is all relating to why don't GOP voters, the question that was posed was, why don't GOP voters care about electability this year? And so that's where this is coming from, because Nikki Haley would be a better candidate for the GOP to stand with, right? Because she has the experience. She doesn't have as much baggage as Trump. And by her being a woman, the GOP could potentially show that they are getting out of their comfort zone and being, quote unquote, more progressive than the Democrats. Nikki Haley, not thinking about all of this stuff she said about history, not thinking about her past record, but I'm just saying from the GOP's vantage point, she could be more of the person. Now, of course, you have to, go through these primaries. And even though she didn't rank well in Iowa, she did okay, even though she still lost by double-digit numbers. And we talked about this with Suzette yesterday. But she has a certain electability factor to her, right? Versus Trump, who still appeals to some folks. He's losing appeal to others that were originally supporting him back in 2016 and 2020. But in terms of where he stands, given all the baggage that he brings to the table, it's an electability problem. He is a huge risk for the party. He's a huge risk for the American people. So using that as the foundation, when I saw this, I thought to myself, man, oh man. Now, this gives me insight as to what people are doing. Republicans do not choose candidates based on these voters. I'm saying these, let me say GOP voters, these Republican voters, they're not choosing candidates based upon their electability, how this person comes across in the media, how this person is in their family life, and what that perception, how that perception comes across to the American people, what their personal views are. They're not dealing with that. They're talking about somebody who shares their views on various issues. So they're less concerned about electability, more concerned about shared values, and it opens the door as to what and how the Democrats are going to respond to this. Because guess what? The Democrats do the very opposite. The Democrats approach elections, national and statewide and local elections, by looking at electability over shared values. Y'all follow me? All right, let me just share this with you. Well, let's do this. Let's take a quick pause. I'm going to take a quick pause. When we come forward, I want us to talk a little bit more. I want to get your take on this, crew. Share your thoughts, post your comments as we're streaming live on Roland Martin's YouTube channel, Roland Martin's Facebook page. But what do you make of this? that right now, GOP voters are more concerned about shared values, less concerned about electability. And this is not a new strategy for the GOP. This is not a new strategy. But do you think that this is a strategy that possibly the Democrats could employ in this particular, or maybe not this particular presidential election, but maybe in some other statewide elections moving forward? What's your take on that? Join us again as we're streaming live on Roland Martin's YouTube channel, Roland Martin's Facebook page. Stay with us. We still got a lot to talk about on the first half of the culture right here on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for a Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20036-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
There's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
All right, folks, welcome back to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. We're having the conversation, just starting the discussion, and I would love to hear what you have to say, crew, around this idea. I came across some information from NPR News. They put it out that GOP voters care more about shared values when they go to the polls of the shared values of a candidate more so than the electability of a candidate. I'm going to say that again. GOP voters in this particular election cycle is caring more about shared values that they have with a candidate versus the electability of a candidate. Now, I thought this was interesting and fascinating because it helps me to understand what the hell has been going on, that after all of this time, all of this baggage, you got 91 indictments, you got 91 charges, 4 indictments, you got a man that has been impeached, all of this stuff, man that has been found to receive money from foreign governments while he was president. Think about all of this stuff that we talk about relating to Trump. You got a man that's going through all of that, yet he wins the 2 biggest races of the GOP primary contest season. He wins Iowa, he wins New Hampshire, not by a couple of points, by double-digit margins in 2024. This is not last, this is right now, folks. So my thinking has been like, what the heck has been going on? How is this possible that a man with all this baggage is able to do it? And so what they found, according to NPR, is that based on, and my sister Corinna Denise checked it and said, well, where are these polls? What's the demographic? These are entrance and exit polls. So that just simply means you're going up to somebody and you ask them who they're voting for and why and who they vote. If they're going in, who are they voting for? When they come out, who did they vote for? And you get this base thing. So it could be whoever's in Iowa, whoever's in New Hampshire, Corinna, right? So you got that demographic. But you got to think about something. Is this a separate America or are we all in the same America, right? Because if this is the case, then there's something underlying why folks will go to the polls after all of this madness, after January the 6th, and still put this man back in a position to be the nominee. Now, it's so easy for us to chalk it up as racism. Oh, they're racist. That's easy. I'm going to be honest with y'all. That's super easy. Like, oh, man, it's just racist. They're just racist, blah, blah, blah. No, there's something else there, folks. I mean, race could certainly play into it that they want to, but no, there's something else. Because even with Trump winning these 2 contests, he's actually still lost some supporters. There were some supporters that had put their votes behind Nikki Haley in New Hampshire. So Trump beat Nikki Haley by double digits, but they still wanted to move over to her side because they felt like, and this was based upon, the reports, that GOP voters said, Trump brings a lot of madness to the White House. It's a lot of instability to the White House, uncertainty to the White House. So if that's the case, it's not just about racism, but there's something that is happening. And getting back to what we talked about yesterday, remember we talked about what Michael Harriot put out there, that we're not having conversations enough about the white voter, even though the white voter makes up the majority of the electorate, even though the white voter are the ones that are putting certain people into office. Well, what is going on with GOP voters? What is going on inside the mind of white voters? Y'all with me? Okay. So we're at this point. We're looking at the situation. And if folks are saying, I share some sense of value with Trump, I'm not worried about whether he could beat Joe Biden. I just share value with Trump. This could be a game-changing strategy. And this is something that the GOP has been doing for years. This is not like their first time, but this could be a game-changing strategy. Now, the other thing that was mentioned in this piece from NPR, they say that electability changes or concerns about electability vary greatly by election. They said, for example, voters who want to move on from a 2-term president in the opposing party, as with Democrats in 2008, might about something about other than electability. In the case of the 2008 Democrats, that something was changed. That was the theme that former President Barack Obama ran on: change and hope. And that connected to a lot of people because that was a value, that was a sentiment that we were all in America back in 2006, 7, and going up into the 2008 elections. We wanted change. There was a sense of malaise in the country. A lot of other things were happening, and we was like, there needs to be a change. And Barack Obama capitalized off of that. He not only was a black candidate, but his messaging was that I'm going to do some different things. I'm going to bring a different culture to the White House. Very, very important for us to not forget about that. All right. So let me go to y'all. I don't want to dominate the conversation without having y'all. Let me hear what y'all have to say. Is it Watika? You said shared values equal ignorance to others who can't relate to you. Well, it's shared values, Watika. I appreciate you for posting that. Shared values is what you and and what you see in your candidate. It's a very personal assessment of the candidate. You know, yeah, of course. I mean, if we decided as black folks in this country, if we decided to put our resources, our voting power behind a candidate, right? Let's go back to former President Barack Obama. We had a shared value with Barack Obama. Not just his message. We weren't even thinking about electability, even though some of us was like, man, America will never actually elect a first black president. How many of us voted, even though the electability factor was in question, but we voted because of the shared values, and we put him in office by over 90% of the vote, of the black vote in the country. So we're talking about that. Shared values is a huge component. This is something that we can't just kind of gloss over, especially when you have a controversial candidate like Donald Trump. You can't just gloss over that. You can't just act like he don't exist. You can't say nobody's going to vote for him. No, there are people in America, as crazy as you might think, that believes that that man is going to stand up for them in some way, shape, or form, right? They may not all be from West Virginia mountains. They may not always be from the rural lands of Kentucky and Georgia. These are people in major urban cities who like, you know what? Yeah, he got a lot of issues, but there are some shared values that I do have with him, right? And they will put him in office. We're talking about white GOP voters, all right? Let's continue to talk about this. Stephanie Humphrey channel, thank you, Watika, for posting. You checked in and said, nothing wrong with voting for shared values, but do those values uplift all or most of the citizens, or is it just for the select few? For the Republicans, it is select few. Well, don't we say the same thing about black people and the black vote? Don't we say the same thing? If, y'all, check this out. We struggle with this as black folks in this country. Look, it's insane for a group of people to put their backing behind a candidate that doesn't speak directly to them. That wouldn't work. If we as Black America are putting and I'm just saying, you know, let's say a majority, I can't expect everybody to do this, but if a majority of eligible registered black voters were to see a candidate, case in point, Dr. Cornel West, the first thing that we saw, and we often say about Dr. West, is he ain't going to get elected. Now, we have a shared value with him. We know of his work. We know of his commitment. We know of all of that. But what's the big issue with him? Electability, right? So we rather, and so we say, nah, I mean, I stand with him on race issues. I stand with him on economic issues. He's right about this war in Palestine and Israel. He's right about this. He's right about that, but he's never going to be able to get elected. Case in point. So it's not unusual. We can't act like it's unusual, right? Because democracy is broken down. As much as we like to think this, and I got to take another pause, as much as we like to think that this situation is that everybody goes to the poll thinking about everybody else, that's a lie. That's not true at all. That's why we have what they call voting blocks. Black America's a voting block. LGBTQ, voting block. You have certain ages, voting blocks. That's why you have voting blocks, because they're trying to, and that's why candidates appeal and do the work of campaigning a certain way to appeal to a voting block, because there are groups of people who want to connect with that candidate in such a way. All right, look, I got to take another quick pause. When we come forward, let's continue the conversation. Stephanie Humphrey channel, I appreciate you for posting that. I want to hear more of your thoughts around this shared values versus electability. Plus, I got some more to share from this report. Stay with me. The conversation continues on the other side here on the post in the culture, right here on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause, to long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for a Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Folks, welcome back to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm having a conversation with you as the crew, and I hope this conversation opens up some new ideas and some thoughts around this issue of voters, right? I was so inspired by the discussion that we had yesterday with my sister Suzette Speaks around this piece around white voters and looking at the situation in Iowa and now New Hampshire. And it's been like bugging me. So when I came across this piece from NPR around electability versus shared values and how groups of folks move, it started to it was like a key that just unlocked something in me, folks, to the point where it was like, you know what? We may need to figure this thing out, y'all. We may need to have a different conversation about this, right? Because, as the old saying, they are playing for keeps. They playing for chess while we play checkers, and all of those comparison, analogies that we use. It really is a difference on how each political party approaches elections and candidates. It's really a difference. Let me case in point, folks. And from NPR, I want to share with you this other quote. Take a look at it. Let's post quote number 2, please. Thank you. It said, and this is from a gentleman by the name of Matt Grossman, who is a political scientist at Michigan State University. He says, still, the parties generally have different attitudes towards electability. Republicans, I want y'all to listen to me on this one, y'all. Mr. Grossman said, Republicans do not perceive a trade-off between rallying the base and winning a general election, whereas Democrats do perceive that trade-off. I'm going to say that again. Republicans do not perceive a trade-off between rallying the base and winning a general election, whereas Democrats do perceive that trade-off. One possible reason why, Mr. Grossman said, is that Republicans correctly perceive America's conservative bent. More Americans consider themselves conservative than liberal. The candidate that you support influences who you think is electable. So most people will choose their candidate and then say that candidate is more electable. Woo! Woo! Okay. Now it's cooking. Y'all see that? If most people, let's go back to the first part. If Republicans don't perceive a trade-off, they're not saying, well, we're going to choose a candidate that's electable over somebody that they're putting that thing all together. If you're a candidate, you share our values, we think you're electable. Whereas we have been conditioned to think, and this may not just come from the Democratic Party, it might just come from the culture of politics in this country. But we have, as Black folks, we have been conditioned to think that electability is the trade-off that we need to make versus somebody that we actually agree with. And what do you make of the conservative bent, as Mr. Grossman said, right? As a political scientist, he's seeing that there is a conservative bent. Like, we know that among Black folks, right? Among Black folks, many Black folks are still conservative on certain things because of the influence of the church, of faith and religion. We're conservative because of economics, right? We're conservative because we truly believe, and I think to most of us, we truly believe that, hard work and pulling up your bootstraps is going to take you far in life. That's the way our grandparents taught us. That's the way some of our parents taught us, right? There's no such thing as a handout. All of that. So that's the ethos that we came up under. And then back to Mr. Grossman saying the candidate that you support influences who you think is electable. Essentially, that the people who put their power behind the candidates make the candidate electable, and the candidate don't make themselves electable. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Can we have this conversation? Can we have this conversation? Let's discuss this. I want us to really think through this. Can we have this conversation? Let me go back to, let me hear what y'all got to say. Anastasia, you said, Farajii, you spoke of Dr. West. Why are we not backing him, especially the Democrats party? They haven't done one thing in this race, but just sit there like mummies. They did the same for Speaker of the House. Yeah. Yeah. Whereas some GOP voters say if Dr. And I'm not saying that we should vote for Dr. West or not. I mean, that's not the point. But I'm just using him as an example because I think he speaks to this moment, right? If the GOP vote, if he was on the other side and the GOP voters had a candidate like Dr. West, just bringing this up, do you think they will push for him? You see what I'm saying? This goes back to, and these ideas go back to what we saw from the 1972 Black Political Convention in Gary, Indiana, that I often reference here on the show. Look at the history of that. When you're talking about Black folks convening, gathering, and organizing and strategizing around candidates, right? And figuring out who is most. And it was in that particular gathering that candidates weren't, the talk wasn't about electability. The talk was about we need people in office that speak to our interests and concerns. The talk was about shared values. The talk was about shared values. So you had a Jesse Jackson there. You had a Reverend Al Sharpton there. You had a Kwame Ture there. You had all of these diverse Black leaders there, right? But they came together on one page and said, what is the shared value? Who is the candidate? Who is the person or persons that we can start to put it out? See, we're trying to get back to that today, I think. I truly believe this. We're trying to get back to that place today because now when we're talking about, well, who is the candidates for us? Who's going to speak for us? You're not looking at electability. You're looking at shared values. All right, let's go back to what you got to say. Anastasia, I appreciate you so much for posting that. Lydia Brown, you said, I pose a question to people, what has been done in the last 3 years that will affect your values and electability? And I think that's a great question, Lydia. I think that's a great question. I think that we can bring that question up to the general whole, to the crew, to folks watching today. You know, we have to ask within ourselves. And I think this is start within ourselves. And again, electability is a priority, is a factor that needs to be considered. But at the end of the day, if you have a candidate that doesn't speak to you, then what do? Do you prop up the candidate that does speak to you? You prop up the candidate that does speak to you. Thank you for posting that. Brian Christian, my brother, you said, I agree that most Americans are conservative, which is why things aren't better than they should be. We're way behind things that other countries are way ahead of us of. Absolutely, Brian. I could not agree with you more, bro. I agree. But see, white conservatism is different from Black conservatism because, and this is the natural order thing, we are in two different places. We have two different experiences. So yes, the idea of working hard comes up, right? But if you're a white American, working hard sounds different, feels different. It is different than Black American. But you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. So what do we do with this, y'all? What do we do with this? Because I'm only bringing this up for us to consider as we move forward. Again, we may not see this, you know, and some people might say, oh, well, this is not the right time to have this particular conversation. But think about what has been the messaging around this whole situation, around this upcoming election. President Biden got the majority of votes in a write-in campaign for the state of New Hampshire. So he won, quote unquote, he won New Hampshire, right? This past Tuesday. But what does this mean? It could mean that going forward, it may not affect, you know, when it comes down to Biden, Trump being back into the two for the seat. This may not affect that situation, but it could affect state. As my sister Corinna is always imploring us to think about, it could affect the state legislature. It could affect the state lawmakers. It could affect that, right? Because we still need those soldiers and those ground folks right there on the state level. So when Biden does pass certain things, then you have those state lawmakers and state representatives who can really, you know, kind of push that agenda along. So we may not be talking about something for President Biden at this time or President Trump at this time, but I think it's very fascinating to say the least. I think it's very fascinating. All right, let me try to get one more in here before we switch gears over. Who else we got here? Benny Hill. Benny, you said I'm a Dr. West, Stein, or Williamson man, but I was hoping Sean Fain of the UAW would get tapped on the shoulder, but he would wound up endorsing Jim Crow Joe. You talking about from the United Auto Workers. So we got to go figure it out. And I think this goes along again, back to the conversation about white voters, what has been the motivation for white voters. I think this is part of that conversation. It's shared values, folks. Shared values. Now, that means, as we close out on this part, that means that we have to have some very different conversation, a different relationship moving forward for our elected officials in choosing those candidates that best qualify themselves to be our representatives. We have to have a different approach to this. And that's why I initially started this part of the conversation with, could this be a lesson for Democrats? Could we see something like this? Do you think the Democrats would gain more, benefit more if they focus less on electability? Now, that's if you agree with this idea that Democrats often emphasize electability over shared value. But if the Democratic Party said, look, here is a candidate that speaks to Black America. Here's a candidate that speaks to the marginalized. Here's the candidate that speaks to those who feel like they don't have a voice, versus a candidate that's been in the system. Here's a candidate who you know by name. Here's a candidate that shows up, they have a great family. That's a different thing, folks. And so I'm looking at Trump right now, how Trump has essentially cleared the path. They have already said that if you win Iowa and if you win New Hampshire, most likely you're going to be the GOP nominee, right? And that's going to be the case. But now the fact is, and I'm going back to what Michael Harriot said, when we're talking about once that Trump gets that nomination, and then you have that period of time between that time where he's nominated, where Joe Biden is all set, and then the actual election, the real question is going to be facing more of the white voter, I truly believe. And the real question is going to be, how are we going to redefine our relationship with President Biden or President Trump? We got to have a game plan for both. We would have to have a game plan for both. And it can't be surface level stuff, man. It can't be. We got to get to value work. I'm going to just call it that, y'all. We have to get back to value work. What is the value work? What are the things that are really important to us that will improve our lives, to make the quality of our lives better? We got to get to the value work. What are the things that a candidate needs to do to truly be a representative of our interests? The value work. So I want to stop this there. Cindy D, you posted something, and educate to free us. You said something. It's the system. We didn't need a rematch of Biden and Trump. The candidates say and do that gets them elected, then accept the status quo. That's what President Obama did. Trump lied as well. That's fine, because a lot of the American people think about electability. We're not thinking about shared values. And we're seeing that more and more. And yes, it's the system, but the system is still built by people. The system is upheld by the people. How does a system change? The system changes once the thinking of the people changes. I'm going to say that again, Cindy. You know it and I know it. How does a system change? The system changes once the thinking of the people changes. So if the white voter or the Black voter, the GOP voter, the Democratic voter, if they continue to think the same thing and say and expect the same thing and expect and get the same results, but don't push back against those results, then what do you expect to happen? It's like that old saying about insanity, doing the same thing, expecting different results. And at this point, we got to get to the root of why are we moving the way we're moving in terms of our relationship to candidates, in terms of our understanding of politics, And what are some new ideas that we can start to entertain to possibly create something different where we get a different result? I want to, you said Real Brooklyn. I know I got to stop this, but you said Farajii is stressed knowing that Trump will undoubtedly be the nominee. It is what it is, my dude. I guess the only thing we can do is put ourselves in a manner that will rise above any situation. I'm only stressed because there's a lot of uncertainty, right, from many of us. And to your point, Real Brooklyn, that's why I just mentioned we got to have a game plan for both, whether it's for a Trump presidency or a Biden presidency. What I am thinking about, this is the stressful part, is I don't want us to have the same relationship. I'm tired of us having the same thinking about this election process, about candidates, about government. Like, I want us to have some redefined relationships there, right? And some redefined thinking there. That's what I'm really stressed about, that we're going into uncharted territory with old thinking. This is uncharted territory. Never in American history have you seen a candidate as like a Donald Trump with so much baggage who is quote unquote posing a threat to democracy and is back on the path to becoming the president of the United States after what we just saw on January the 6th. So now this is uncharted territory. We could say, Real Brooklyn, it is what it is, but there's nothing in the Constitution. There's nothing in the founding documents. There's nothing in the writings of the founder that prepared us for this moment that we're in this country. Nobody knows what to do about the Trump factor. Nobody knows. I'm sure the GOP is trying to figure out what the hell have we gotten ourselves into. Nobody knows this stuff. Because at the end of the day, this is a man that has broken all of the rules from everything from decorum to the law. And he is still considered to be a candidate for the presidency of the United States. So we're going into uncharted territory with old thinking. And I'm just saying, maybe we need to change up something in a little bit. We can't stop that train with him being nominated, but we can certainly stop the thinking that we have around this particular moment that we're in. And if we do, we may not find ourselves in the losing end. I don't want us to be like, man, if Trump gets in office, man, I'm moving. And, oh, man, if Trump gets in office. No, if Trump gets into office, how is Black America going to intelligently respond? How are we going to handle that? Are we going to just wish upon a star that he doesn't get crazy? That things don't change dramatically? Or are we going to have a game plan ready? Are we going to have a game plan ready? We know what he brought before. You can't say, I ain't know before. We already seen that history. We can either learn from that history or guess what, y'all? Doomed to repeat it. And if we're doomed to repeat it, that just goes to show you that we are quite insane because we keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. All right, folks, I got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's switch gears. Let's talk about relationships. I got my check-in with my sister, Trinette Collier, as the inspirationalist, as we talk about this new trend that we're starting to see. And it was started on social media, but now has branched out in real life. I'm going to tell you about post-sex goodie bags and how this whole situation is just crazy and what we can learn from it. Stay with us. Those conversations are up next here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for a Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in for the second half of the show. And I cannot thank y'all enough for being a part of the conversation. If you are online right now, if you're watching the show, whether you're in Roland Martin's Facebook page or Roland Martin's YouTube channel, make sure you join us in the chat and be a part of the culture crew for the day. If you enjoyed the conversation, you'd like to come back, welcome to the crew. We've been having some very, very spirited conversations about a whole lot of things. So that is your place to share honest convo. And we got some great moderators in the crew right now on the YouTube chat, Pastor Damon Blissett and others who have been just making sure that we can have a disagreement. We can have, some misunderstandings, but we will not tolerate disrespectful information or lies or name calling or anything. Those chats are set up so we can have some very important dialogue, some honest conversations, as my sister Cindy D said. Honest conversations about the issues and its impact on us. So join us as we are having those discussions right now on Roland Martin's YouTube chat and Roland Martin's Facebook page. And big shout out to the crew on the X platform. Folks, make sure y'all tune into us here on Black Star Network. So do your due diligence and support us here on Black Star Network. Just go to our website today, download the app, and follow us on all social media platforms at Black Star Network. And of course, do your due diligence to support us financially. And we thank you for your support. All right, let me just switch gears, checking in with Coach Trinette Collier, the inspirationalist, as she talks to us a little bit about relationships. I don't want to put her in no no trick bags. She don't talk about just male, female stuff. She talk about life. So I'm always happy to have my sister. She joins us here on Thursdays here on The Culture. She's just joining us and being a regular voice, and I'm enjoying having her talking about some of these issues. So thank you, Sister Trinette. There we go. Let's talk. What was that?
What you got me into today?
Oh, got you into today. All right, I want to switch gears because it was a hot and heavy political conversation. But let's switch gears. Let's talk about relationships. We're talking about male-female intimacy relationships because there's a growing trend right now that's on social media that got people talking, which is post-sex goodie bags.
Oh, okay. Did I miss out on this when I was dating?
If you are dating right now, you might have come across this. You may not even have heard of this phenomenon, but this is something that was really kicked off about 3 years ago, where a woman went on Facebook or one of the social media sites, and she said she spent the night with a man, and as a result of that, on her way out, he gave her a goodie bag. I thought this was fascinating and interesting. And I was like, maybe we need to talk about this. Now, let me show you what the contents of the goodie bags are, folks. This is coming from the grill. Take a look at this. Inside the bag, you know what? We don't even need to post the quote. I'm going to just tell y'all. This is wild. Imagine, you ain't going to post this quote. We ain't posting it. We can take this down.
No, post it.
No, I ain't going to post it. No, I'm going to just say it to the people. Inside the bag, imagine, ladies, you go and you spend some time and you have a good time or whatever the case may be. And you go and he's like, hey, baby, I appreciate you. Got you a little something at the table. And you got a goodie bag set up right there on your way out the door. In this lady's case, she said inside the bag was a fun-sized bag of Doritos.
The fun size.
An unidentified sandwich on a piece of white bread. Some weed crumbs, a cheap pack of cigars, like blunts, and $40.
Congratulations, you played. Congratulations.
Written on the bag was a note. Written on the bag was a note that said, quote unquote, thank you for your time. Now, this sounds like a hood goodie bag.
That's a hood chick goodie bag. That's
a hood chick for $40, some weed, some blunts, and some Doritos. Might throw in some Takis.
And then you got the mini size. The
fun size bag of Doritos. And a sandwich on white bread. Like, come on, bro. Come on.
So was it a Ziploc bag or
I have no idea. The fact that you packed the sandwich. Like, how long has the sandwich been sitting in the bag? Like, there's so many questions.
Right.
So many questions. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. That are we at this point now? Like, what is this right here? Like, real talk. Like, what is this? Is this something that? And I mean, women are talking about it, and some guys are doing it. But what is this? Like, what is this? What does this say to you as a woman that's working in both the relationship space and the life coach space? What does this say to you? What do we make of this?
I'm gonna have to agree with one of your crewmen. To me, it seems like a form of prostitution because now you're rewarding me for a service. I mean, did we talk about this? Did we have a conversation? You put money in the bag and some snacks. Like, so my thing is, first of all, as a woman, I'm gonna have that conversation, and I stated this before. Back in my days, there were some times where you just wanted the what they call it, the jump off, or a cut buddy or whatever. You made that very clear while you were dating. Listen, we're not doing relationships. I just come over, boom, 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 head on out. But I never been offered a goodie bag. And then on top of that goodie bag, it sounds very cheap because you're going to give me, I'm sorry, y'all, but a fun-sized Dorito bag and the sandwich. So did you get up when did you get up to make the sandwich? Like, there are a lot of questions. But again, if this is how you're dating now, if this is what you want, it goes back to that self-love. Like, do you love yourself enough to deal with somebody who's going to give you a goodie bag? And I guarantee you that person or those people will probably hook up again, because they think it's so cute. Oh, he thinks enough. No, he's not thinking of it. He's saying thank you for your time. So you provided a service, and I don't know. I know personally, it's a no for me.
It's a no for you.
It's a no for me because number one, the content's in the bag. A fun size. I'm looking fun size. That's the bag.
You can't get past the content. Wait a minute. What about the idea, Coach Trinette? What about this idea that a man does? And I mean, there's some really strange like rituals and tradition, and this just some of the stuff that people are doing right now, in quote unquote, under the term or under the guise of dating, is remarkable. I read a piece one time where it said that 60% of men who are on dating apps never actually take a woman out on a date. Never forget that. I'll never forget that. Like 60%. You know what I'm saying? So how can you say you're dating, or even you're in whatever type of situationships or casual relationships, and some people even push back on there's no such thing as a casual relationship, right? But how are you in this space? And it seems like it takes away from the consequential. I don't want to seem like I'm a Puritan or anything, but it just takes away from the intent, which is supposed to be you're supposed to find a partner, a mate, somebody that you want to be in a relationship with.
It's intentional. That was what I was referring to earlier. Like, what are your intentions of dating? What is the purpose of you dating? And I do understand that at some point while we were dating, we were, I had a lot of friends who you got something for something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a bill paid. You may have slept with somebody to get a bill paid back in the day or whatnot. The goodie bag, I don't know. I saw somebody said, "Who doesn't like a snack every now and then?"
I mean, if you want to make a snack, but if
But I don't know. I would have felt if we had not had the conversation, right? Like, what's our intentions? What's our interaction gonna be? And if it was just a one night stand, I'm not expecting anything from you. Now, this is the way I'm thinking. If outside. If I know that this is just a one night stand, I don't have anything connected to you or whatnot, and I walked out and there was a thank you bag post sets goodie bag, I probably wouldn't feel any kind of way. I'm probably like, oh, that's cool. That's, okay, cool.
Right.
But as I mature in my relationships and whatnot, I probably would have been like, oh, okay, no, that he's gonna be cut off my list because this is what he's thinking of me, but again, it really depends on the individual, because I did ask this question to some women. Surprising, they were like, oh, I don't see anything wrong with it. And
they don't see nothing wrong with a goodie bag.
Yeah, because they were like, I don't have any ties with him. I went to go get something from him, and he thanked me for my time, and I was like, oh, okay. And then, I was like, oh, but then when I thought about it, I said, well, maybe it's almost the same as, like I said, back in the day, there were times where we had those conversations like, oh, I need my light bill paid. So let me go call up such and such and see if he can hook me up or whatever. And this one, but I mean, I don't know. I just know that it would be weird for me in this stage of my life if I were to do that and I received that type of goodie bag. First of all, now the money, I probably would have been like, could you pay a bill? I mean, cable bill or something. I don't know.
Afterwards,
you can keep the snacks. I need my cable.
You can keep your Doritos. You can keep your 50-cent Doritos. Yeah. I need a $200 bill paid.
And it's like I thought I.
But let me ask you a question though. I gotta take a quick pause. We gotta take a pause. But my question is: are we setting ourselves up for disaster when we contextualize the interaction between us as you get me this, I get that type of deal. Like we're setting up the relationship to be more transactional rather than a relationship. Are we setting ourselves up? So I want to kind of continue that conversation. Folks, share your thoughts on this, crew, because this is something that folks have been talking about on social media. Are post-sex goodie bags appropriate? And some people would go as far as say, is it trashy? Or is this something that's kind of like thoughtful? What's your take on it as we stream live on Roland Martin's YouTube chat and on Roland Martin's Facebook page? And stay with us. The conversation continues on the other side here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for a Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
There's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Chat is blowing up.
Welcome back. Welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I just tuned into the chat.
Your chat
I
is
just,
blowing up.
oh my gosh, I just tuned into the chat, and oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. What did Kevin Hart say? I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
I listen. I'm sitting over here.
I was like, let me check out with the chat. All I saw was a lot of goodies. Real Brooklyn talk about, oh Lord, the goodies are out. Willie Frazier.
Somebody said $200. Now, now if he had left $200, now I ain't gonna lie, I would have been like, oh, okay, I'll be back.
Teddy Grahams, Cindy D. Teddy bears, candy, and flowers signal romance to me.
Yeah. I mean, if that's what they're doing now, you know, I want to ask my husband. I want to ask my husband, would you have given me a goodie bag? Because now I want to know. Like,
look, all I ask you, Coach Trinette, is when you ask him, just be quiet, just be paused. It'd be like, would you have given me a goodie bag after we?
Because now you're thinking, if this is a growing trend, you know, what are we saying to our young girls and our young boys as they grow? Like, are we now going to have that talk with your sons and daughters? Like, listen, son, mama gonna help you put together some goodie bags for your like, is that going to be part of the talk now? Real talk, like, if this is a growing trend, because now these different trends in dating, they're blowing my mind. But the thing is, we're accepting these trends. So when do we fall back and say, what is our self-worth? Again, I'm not knocking anybody, because I'm 52, so I've been there, done that. Back in the day, the 90s, we had our thing. And, you know, so I'm just finding that these trends are becoming, you know, you were hush hush back there about your partners and what you did. We didn't, well, first of all, we didn't have social media like that, but
no, we didn't
go around chit-chatting about that. But if this is becoming a trend, so that means people are really proud of this, and they're making, like, you're really thinking about this. You're like, okay, let me get some goodie bags, let me get this stuff together, Like, are you gonna say, even like for the girls, I mean, so for the women, are we creating goodie bags for the guys to leave from the house? You know, like, I don't know. That's too much time. First of all, I don't have time to be making.
Let me just say that it becomes this other thing, right? It becomes this thing that we don't like. It takes away, and I get it. Like, it's kind of wild, it's kind of crazy, and I see folks in the chat like, yo, I prefer to have Sour Patch Kids. I prefer to do all of these things. Like, I get all of that, but at the end of the day, like, the ultimate goal is to do what? The ultimate goal is to try to connect with people. The ultimate goal is romance.
Yeah.
And so it's important that we keep that in mind. But I think that when you start talking about all this other stuff, and I mean, it's cool if you have good intentions. And I think that's the other thing. Like, if the intention is something, but it gets to be this kind of like crazy situation. Now, in the Griot, the sister that wrote about this for the Griot, y'all, she was like, let me see this person. Monique Judge. She's out here in LA.
Yeah.
But she says she's not opposed to the idea of a goodie bag.
Yeah.
If the intention and the contents of the bag match was up to something. You know what I'm saying? And she said it. She said, fellas, you got to step your game. I think a lot of women are tired of getting something, of getting nothing.
Yeah.
For nothing.
Yeah. And again, I can see that, like, if you're in that state of mind, you know, the contents of the bag. First of all, I'm reading it again. You know, some weed crumbs, a cheap pack of cigars. You know, if you're going to do that, if you're going to be intentional about your goodie bag, you know, add a bottle of water in there. Like, really put some thought into it, because again, there are people who don't want a relationship and who don't mind being one night stands. You know, let's keep it honest. There are people who just don't want that. And if that's your preference, that's fine. Because again, dating with a purpose. What are you dating for? Are you just you just want to have sex and have these interactions like that with one night standards, that's fine if that's what you want. But I think if you're gonna put the thought into it, like I guess like look at the content and then you add money to it. So is there a clear definition of what a transactional night looks like? Because again, is there a difference between that and getting a bill paid from someone that you just had a night with? Like, hey, can you put something on on the power bill or whatnot? So I guess it's just again going. Listen, that's why I said, God knew when to take me out of the dating game, because I would have been like, listen, my cable do, my internet do. Can you, if you're gonna come over, lay something on the counter, lay something on the counter.
Hey, don't just lay the wood.
Don't lay
the money like Denzel Washington was in Fences. Every Friday he came home, he put that money on the table
because they paid for the bills.
They paid them. He told his friend, I don't have no money. She handles all the money, so you just come through the house, honey. I'm home.
There you go. Put the money on.
Nowadays, all you doing is laying on the table is that baby arm.
Because you do want to know, like, okay, am I getting something? Like you said, getting something for time. But I don't know. It's again, whatever your preference is, I say have that conversation so nobody will leave feeling some kind of way, so you won't feel cheap with the mini size Dorito bag,
All right, well. From the grill, Monique Judge said, if you're going to give me a goodie bag, she said, instead of giving me $40, give me a stack. Put it on a Visa card if you want.
Listen.
Excuse me. She said, instead of a Lipton Arnold Palmer, give me a bottle of champagne, rosé, or Prosecco. Instead of white bread, sandwich, give me an Uber Eats gift card. Put some chocolate-covered macadamia nuts in there or a box of See's candies. Instead of whatever low-grade cannabis that was in the bag, drop some edibles in there to help me relax. Put a bath bomb in there or a lavender balm to help me relax. In other words, just put some effort into it to make you think that you are thinking about the woman you are spending the night with and to make her feel special.
Yeah. And again,
can y'all imagine that though? You go to the bag and the dude got the bath bomb. He got you a gift card. He got you an Uber Eats card. Guess what? That ain't a goodie. That's a hello bag because she coming right back, bro. That's not a goodbye bag. That's like, girl, he thought about me today.
Really knocking at your door.
He'd be like, I didn't even call you. I was just in the neighborhood.
That's the one who's gonna be texting. What you doing?
You got any more of those bags? It's my homegirl.
But again, that it would be a good intention. That you put some gift cards in there. You're right. You gonna have me at the door. I'll be knocking on your door. I'll be like, you want some breakfast? What we eating this morning? What you want? I get up and make you a sandwich. If you go
wait, hey yo, let me tell you what would be foul, Jeanette. What would be foul? You use that gift card to pay for his breakfast.
Hey.
Oh, baby, you got me for breakfast? Yeah, I'm gonna just use that Visa. Hey, that's the same Visa gift card I've had.
Listen.
Yes, sir. But see, here's the thing, very quickly, right? There is a statistic that shows that a lot of women are not, you know what? I'm not even going to start there because I'm not going to talk about there's a huge gap in terms of pleasure and satisfaction between men and women. And this is very, very real.
Yeah.
That women are not being pleased nearly as much as a man is being pleased. So they call it the orgasm gap.
Yeah.
And so it's a very real gap. And so a lot of women are like, look, I mean, yeah, some guys can do it, but then there are a lot of women who are suffering from that. And as a result of that, they feel like, well, maybe a goodie bag or something. I'm not walking out here with nothing. Like Denzel said in that Jamie Foxx interview, I'm leaving with something.
I'm leaving with something. It's a conversation.
I'm leaving with something.
I'm leaving with something. I really wholeheartedly feel like it's just the the candid conversation that it's time for us, as especially in our community, to have. This is something that me and my husband are constantly, sharing the conversation. And again, we talked about this a few episodes back. It's like being able to be open and honest about your sexual experience. Like, what is it that you like? What is it that you want, and not be ashamed of it with your partner or whatnot. And so I really believe that if we can have this conversation and say, hey, I don't like you like that. I really, I respect you. You cool. You're just my cut buddy, and then the other person can agree or disagree. And then you make that you have that mutual agreement. So there won't be any feelings involved in it, and it won't be the text messages, what you doing. You have that understanding if that's what you want, again.
There it is. Willie Frazier, you said the goodie bag with the Prosecco, the Uber Eats card, and all of that. You said, God dang, that bag is about $200.
Listen.
Hey, brother Willie. She coming back. She gonna come back though. Mike Deasy.
I'm just saying.
Girl, he put a good.
Maybe go get a little emoji with it.
Mike Deasy, you said better listen to DMX. I'll blaze you, you blaze me. What y'all really want from a brother?
That $200.
We want a bath bomb and Prosecco, sir. That's what we really want. We want a bath bomb and Prosecco. So and my team corrected me. The pleasure gap. Y'all got to take a look at this. This is very fascinating because a lot of women aren't happy in their sexual experience. And Trevin, I know we got to take a quick pause, but I know that we got to talk about that. That's a very real situation, especially among Black women who are not being satisfied in the way that they want to be satisfied. So this is interesting. It's fascinating. Y'all might be starting to see more of it, and it's going to be very, very interesting. We got to take a quick pause. When we come back, more conversation. Stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate Black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
All right, folks, welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I've been chatting with my sister, Coach Finette Collier, the Inspirationalist, as we've been talking a little bit about relationships. Very quickly, before we can go to our next segment, I want to get your take on this. When a woman talks about, this is Cam Newton's baby mother.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about, she's happy about her and Cam have decided to have a baby, move forward with their life. She's happy about becoming a mother, but she also shared some advice on how to keep your man at home. And it's just very interesting that we're in this time where people are kind of giving this relationship advice. And I wanted to just simply share a little bit about what she said. She said, some of y'all be wondering why your man don't never want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
She said, after she announced her excitement about becoming a mom, she said she posted a meme where it says, when there's peace in your home, it's hard not to stay at home. And under this meme, she said, gave some advice. She said, some of y'all be wondering why your man don't never want to be there. He out fighting the world and got to come home and fight you too. And I know he wouldn't have to fight me if he just answered the phone when I called him the first time. You got it, sis. So I want to kind of get your take on this. What do you make of the time, the culture that we're in, where a lot of women are giving each other advice on how to keep a man, right? And saying that this works best, y'all doing it wrong, all of this stuff. You work in a relationship and life coaching space. What do you make of this kind of growing trend that we're starting to see that, look, if you want to keep a man, or if a man wants to keep a woman, you got to do A, B, and C. What do you make of that?
Listen, I always laugh at the internet because a lot of these people who are giving advice are not in relationships. They're hopping from person to person, or they get with someone, they get pregnant or whatever the case may be, and then they want to go and share with the world how to keep somebody. Right now, I'm not disputing what she says, because again, each relationship, you're going to tailor it to you and your mate's needs. Everybody's relationship is not going to be the same. Now, again, I'm very big on the communication, because in order to keep somebody, first of all, you have to share with that person your vision of what you want in your relationship. When I got with my husband, the first thing I told him, because I was actually told this advice, girl, you got to make sure that you stay, keep yourself up, and we'll put on those 6-inch heels, this, that, and the other, right?
Right.
Everybody who knows me knows I cannot walk in heels. I am not a heel person. So for a while, at one time, I'm thinking, oh man, I have to wear heels. And granted, there were some guys that I dated who loved women in heels, and they wanted me to wear heels. So that prompted me to have this notion, like I have to have a conversation and be honest. So when I met my husband, guess what was included in our conversation during our
A goodie bag? A goodie bag?
Listen, I told him, I said, if you are looking for someone who wants to wear heels, I'm not that person. I'm gonna tell you now. I said, I love heels on the other women. I said, I cannot walk in heels. Not that I don't want to, but I have flat feet and I cannot walk. So, you know, but this was a conversation where most people are like, oh, it wasn't as serious. No, it is that serious, because some people really believe that in order to keep a man, you have to dress a certain way or you have to act a certain way or whatnot. I say, you know, you talk to your partner, because you can do all of these things and that person, male or, you know, female, can go out and still cheat, can still leave you and whatnot. So this is where that conversation comes into play. I told my husband I did not wear heels. I say I'm a sneakers and sandals girl, but I love dressing up, this, that, and the other. He made the decision. That's cool. I'm good. I know, you know, if you can't walk in heels, I'd rather for you not to have them on or whatnot versus falling. But this was that honest conversation that we had to have with each other, you know? And so when people are coming on, giving that advice, this is how you keep your man. Now, granted, there is, you definitely have to have peace in your home, but that goes for both, you know, for the husband and the wife, or the woman or the man in your relationship. You're going to be you're going to keep peace in your home. But when we start giving this unsolicited advice on how to keep somebody, I kind of stay away from that, because I'm like, so what are the dynamics of your relationship? What is your relationship based on? You know, have you talked about these things with him? Do you know does he know what you want and you know what he wants? You know, so we're not having these conversations.
And it reeks of lack of personal accountability, because a woman can do all that she can in a home and be peaceful, but the man may be the source of pain.
Yeah, exactly.
Or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can happen both ways. So I'm in agreement with you that when I start to hear relationship advice, I'm like, this is out of context, because I don't know all the dynamics of your relationship, right? I don't know what y'all have gone through for you to get to this point. And, you know, it depends on the value system. So, you know, this is Jasmine Brown. This is Cam Newton. They're not married.
Right. So there you have a lot of other factors there, you know. I know the world is, you know, whatever you decide to do, that's you. But also, do you have systems in place for when you're unable to keep that man at home? You know, what is it? Do you have anything in place? Does he have anything in place? What's your vision for your relationship? What are your expectations? Are y'all going to get married? What is it? Because you know, she says she's the third one. Third is the charm by charm. A statement that she made. So are you saying that you're going to be it? Does he know that you're it? Like, is that it? You know, for him? Have y'all had this conversation? So again, when you're making this statement, now again, if you want to journey your relationship and say, hey, these are some things that I've learned, and that's what I always say as a relationship coach. These are things that I've learned to help me get to this next step, you know, because again, I can't tell you how to get a man. I can't tell you how to keep a man. I can share some strategies on what to do, you know, if that's what you're looking for. And this is the problem that I have with people who like to share these advices, you know.
Absolutely. Look, that makes a lot of sense, and I'm gonna follow your advice and not listen to theirs. Thank you so much. Hey, Jeanette, we got to take another quick pause when we come forward. Let's check in with the CEO of American Luxury Unlimited, Mr. Patrick Whitney, as we talk to him about his brand and his work. Stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. This is an opportunity for us to be able to speak to our issues. Y'all better understand something real quick.
Can you hear me okay?
We ain't going nowhere. It is a continual battle that we see all across this country. Revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be streamed.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
He makes sure that our stories are told.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared. Folks, Black Star Network.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. We want to, as we have our final conversation, we want to check in with Mr. Patrick Whitney, who is the CEO of American Luxury Unlimited, here to talk to us about his brand, the work that he's doing, and how he plans to upset the beauty industry. So let's welcome Patrick to the to Black Star Network. And I want to also bring my sister Trinette Collier, Coach Trinette, excuse me, back into the conversation as well. Patrick, welcome, brother. How are you this afternoon?
I'm blessed. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, brother. Thank you for checking in.
Excellent.
First and foremost, talk to us about the work you're doing with American Luxury Unlimited. What is this company all about, Patrick?
All right. Well, I have my own Black-owned fragrance business, luxury fragrance business, and I have multiple scents for women, men, unisex. We got oils. Just want to be able to bring a little bit of luxury to our community and be able to have a good scent to kind of host whatever a function you have.
That's awesome. Awesome. What can now I've had a gentleman on the show before, Patrick, that talked about the science of putting together scents and everything. But what's your process? How do you come up with the scents that you have for your line?
Okay. Yeah, I took it from a more simplistic approach. It kind of started with, okay, what scents did I like? You know, what did I grow up on? What were some of the colognes that I really loved? And I kind of found out what was in them. And understanding that, as you mentioned, it is a science. They take different scents from the top notes, mid notes, bottom notes, and they put it together during a period of time. You can have a scent on, and then from there, after a couple hours, that scent goes away. You start to smell the mid notes. And so it's a beautiful science. So understanding the different scents that other colognes had, I got to kind of find out what scents I liked, put them together, try to find a real unique blend. And then from there, try to add a actual message to it. You know, what is the type of scent I want to wear if I'm going on a date? What type of scent do I want to wear when I want to go to the boardroom? So I want to be able to bring that personality, that type of knowledge of, hey, I want to wear this scent for a particular reason. And that's what I try to bring in American Luxury Unlimited.
Now, is your and then Trinette, I want to get your thoughts on this, but Patrick, is your intention to do what with your American Luxury Unlimited? What is the intention? Is it to be big in all stores? Is it to be a boutique shop? What's your intention there, bro?
I mean, the overall goal is to be able to find my own lane. If you kind of go into those fragrance stores now, you'll see a huge wall of all types of sculptures and bottles that look fantastic. And so when you put your brand in there, you can get eaten up within all of that mass. So I wanted to be able to find my own lane to be able to, number one, have a brand that is Black owned. There are actually not that many out there. And so when I did my research, I was like, okay, I want to be able to have something that is considered luxury, that has a nice presentation. I didn't want to be when the guys are running up to you in the mall trying to offer you to smell this and to buy this from a little valve. I wanted to be able to really have a good presentation for a bottle. And then from there, just finding my lane, whether it's online, taking the Fashion Nova approach. I wanted to be able to find an online e-commerce niche for my brand and to be able to make sure it makes some headways.
Now, how did you do that? Because kind of getting into the beauty and to the fashion space is very, very competitive. It's very good old boy in a lot of ways. So how are you paving a path for a young Black man like yourself?
What I always profess is creating opportunities for yourself. I never try to wait for anybody. I never try to just sit by the door and by the phone. I try to constantly pursue all avenues. So whether it's messaging your show manager to say, hey, can I get on your show? Or reaching out to Black Enterprise Magazine. I'm reaching out to every outlet out there where I can get my brand in front of people. And sometimes it involves going to trade shows, vending shows, word of mouth. So I'm constantly trying everything, not taking anything off the table to make sure I can get seen and different also of course, smelled as well.
There it is. Trinette, what you think of Patrick Whitney?
I love it. Listen, I want to know quickly, how was this journey for you as an entrepreneur and as a Black man creating your own fragrance? Because again, you got Valentine's coming up and you got the men who want to, buy their ladies scent or vice versa. So how's that journey been for you when you created created your fragrance?
Well, it's been a pleasure and pain. That's kind of everything that's worth it. Just to be able to create something that didn't exist before, almost like having a child, to have something that didn't exist before and to have people love it and think it's up to par or even better than some of the most famous scents out there. It's a lovely situation, and to be able to contribute to our culture and anybody's culture. This is Black owned, but this is not Black only. And so I want to be able to present to everybody a different sense for your different moments. And as you mentioned, Valentine's Day is coming up, so I wanted to make sure I had scents and gift sets for men and women. So just for example, I have my Miss Influential a roll-on fragrance oil, and it also comes with this necklace here that's actually a diffuser. So you actually can rub the oil on this little felt pad inside, put it on, and you can smell it. So people with sensitive skin who don't want to put things on their skin, you can smell the scent and kind of wear it as jewelry.
I like that, bro. I like that. Let's put out your website, Brother Patrick. How can people get more information? How can they support you and the work that you're doing with American Luxury Unlimited?
Not a problem. It's www.americanluxuryunlimited.com. Of course, you can reach me on Instagram, which is at American_luxury_unlimited. At American Luxury Unlimited for all the other major social medias. I'm on Amazon. Check out my website. And of course, for your listeners, if you put in the promo code CULTURE, they'll get 10% off of all the fragrances.
Come on, man.
Come on, I gotta come prepared now. I gotta come prepared.
Yeah, 10% off. 10% off. Just put in the password culture. Tell them Farajii Muhammad sent you. And Trinette Collier. Just to tell them Coach Trinette and Farajii sent you. And tell them that we know the CEO.
Right.
Tell them we know the CEO. Hey, Patrick, let's put the website up once again for Patrick. The work that you're doing with American Luxury Unlimited. Here's the website, folks. Beautiful website, a lot of great products. He is a young Black man that is opening the doors and creating the space for Black fragrances and, more importantly, for Black business. If you're interested, make sure you go check him out on his website. Follow him on all social media platforms. And what is the big thing that you have learned from this experience? And not just being an entrepreneur, but you're working in a way that is good for the culture. Any particular lessons that you've learned, big brother?
Oh, so much. I mean, overall, I want to be an example. I feel that, like me growing up, I didn't have too many examples to strive. That's why you may not see many people in the luxury fragrance field, because you didn't have that example. I want to be like him. I was a Cash Money baby, so I wanted to be like the rappers. I wanted to have all the jewelry, all the things out there, but I didn't want to do what they did to get it. So I want to be an example for anybody who says, okay, I want to do that. And okay, I see the fruits of his labors. And that's why my number one fragrance is the gold standard, meaning the best of the best. And I want to be the best of the best. And I want everybody to see it, not from a cocky standpoint, but to say, hey, I can do it too.
There it is right there. Patrick Whitney, CEO of American Luxury Unlimited. Brother, I truly appreciate you. Thank you for making your scent, and thank you for trailblazing the way as a business owner. And thank you for being so good for the culture. And of course, folks, Valentine's Day coming up.
Don't
nice
give
little gift. Hey, put it in a goodie bag.
Hey,
man, put that thing.
I'll make sure
Go
I get
ahead.
you a bottle too if you want.
Hey, bro. That ain't nothing but a word, Patrick. We about to follow each other and make that thing happen, buddy.
Let's make it
We're about
happen.
to make that thing happen, brother. Hey, my brother Patrick Whitney, thank you so much for joining us here on The Culture, man. We truly appreciate you, and best of luck with the great work you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, Coach Trinette, we chopped it up for another great Thursday. I truly appreciate you. How can people learn more about the work you're doing?
Thank you so much again. You can reach me on all social media platforms. I am Trinette L. Collier. My website, IamTrinetteLCollier.com.
There it is right there. She joins us here on The Culture on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern time, and she chops it up talking about all manner of stuff. But her work is relationships. She does life coaching work. She does intimate relationships, romantic relationships, and so much more. And she is known as the inspirationalist. And we have her joining us here on Thursdays here on The Culture. Thank you so much for Trinette. We truly appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. Make sure you do your due diligence. Support us here at Black Star Network. Download the app for free. Follow us on social media. And, of course, drop something in the bucket as we do the work of bringing you black and unfiltered content like no other. You know, whoever space going to talk about post-sex goodie bags, except for us in here. Maybe just one or two other places. But we are here for those conversations. And so big shout out to all of the Culture crew for having the conversation. I really enjoy bringing certain topics to you. And thank y'all for making this conversation and a whole other conversation so pleasurable. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stay tuned. Up next is Roland Martin Unfiltered, 6 p.m. Eastern time. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we'll talk tomorrow for another exciting edition of The Culture right here, exclusively here on the Black Star Network. Peace.